welcome to the Job Scam Report podcast, and the whole crew is here. Welcome them counterclockwise, starting with Mr. Russell Irby, HR Honey Badger. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Looking forward to this.
Good deal. I'm still working on some audio things, but I'm glad at least you guys can hear me. And hopefully you guys in the audience can hear us as well. And Ashley, how are things with you, ma'am?
Hey everybody, doing good. Excited to be here with you guys.
Good deal. And of course, the profiler himself, all in his gear.
Yeah. Had to bust out the hat.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
How come I didn't get the hat
I'm
memo?
always glad to have you guys.
Y'all didn't tell me about the hats.
You're the only
Next
one
time.
I'll have to send you one.
That's okay. We didn't make that a requirement, and I didn't expect Jay to come. I knew Russell was going to come, but I didn't expect Jay to come. Maybe next time we'll all just have our hats, because I always have a hat when I do these things. About 99% of the time. Doesn't matter what platform. I've done all the TV, radio, podcast stuff, everything with this hat.
You inspired it, that's why.
Yeah.
Too much camera glare if I take mine off.
Yeah. The only thing is that to get the lighting right, and I had to do a different place so that the Wi-Fi will stay. So I am glad you all are here, though. Want to start this panel with some breaking news, kind of learning about the open work badge recently. That kind of LinkedIn done what they said they were going to eventually do, was make it so that only recruiters can see the badge and not, or I'm sorry, back up, that people can no longer search using the open to work hashtag badge. It remains to be seen whether they'll be the only one to see the green badge. But right now, my understanding, and I'll even have further clarification when I talk to one of my guys for the post live show, which, by the way, this is the first time I'll ever do two shows back to back like this. The post live will be commenting about what we'll be talking about and adding value. So you guys will be able to, everybody in the audience will be able to get it. But I want to get you guys' thoughts about, and Jay and I had some back and forth about it on our chat, but I just wanted to get the road started here. It is something that LinkedIn has kind of been alluding to, because back in September, The Verge had printed an article about LinkedIn shutting out, or not trying to shut out scammers, but what they said was, and I think that's what the goal is, but they were going to vet more closely recruiters that were coming in. That's not to say about the recruiters or the fake recruiters that were already here. So if you have some dirty water and you pour half of it out and you put some clean water in, the water is still dirty. Am I missing something here, Russ, Jay, Ashley? Is that where we're at right now with this, Ashley?
Close the door after the baby had already got outside.
Yeah, you literally described a half measure. So
yeah, it is. There is still dirty water in the pool. There was another analogy I was going to use, but I'm going to save that maybe for later or not at all. But and all that to say, go ahead, Ashley.
Yeah, and then there's no mention of, okay, what are all of the titles? Like, because from what I saw, recruiter, I saw you have to verify that for talent acquisition, but there's a lot of unique ways in which people will try to get over on that. And so I'm curious to see how effective that truly is. And then people are making up fake companies and fake email addresses with business handles all the time. And so saying that it's only legitimate if you verify via your work email.
That's been proven to be flimsy.
Yep.
And then
I have an email if I want to use it. That's hrhoneybadger.net. Because I pay my $10 a year to own that domain.
And then in that, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, the mic came out. Hold on. The headphones came out on me. So yeah, basically, when it comes to the titles that they mentioned in that previous update, it only mentioned 2 to 4 of them, I believe. I have a list of 91 titles that I've seen in the work that I do that these scammers use. So the list that they have is not comprehensive. But go ahead.
The list isn't comprehensive, and we're not saying that that LinkedIn doesn't have all of the bases covered. They were just obscure in what they've communicated so far with all the issues that we've been seeing for the past few years. So it's not like people read and say, oh, everything's going to be really good. Automatically, people end up having more questions, like me, having more questions than they did any kind of resolution. How about you, Russell?
I think it's a money grab. Everything about LinkedIn is a money grab. Right now, you didn't have to pay the recruiter tax or license if you could just search by that hashtag. Well, now
Right.
regular recruiters can't do that. So now they're going to have to pay if they want access to those people. I didn't see this as stopping scammers because, like I said, it's not enough.
Right.
It's just words throwing out there. All this did is make it difficult for the real recruiter. So now they'll have to pay in order to get better access. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's just more money grab.
And if the
Right.
only barrier to entry is payment, scammers make more than enough money by scamming. So that payment, I've said this many times, is negligible.
Yes,
Exactly.
and I was going to head your way that way, Jay, since you've already said it. The ROI for scammers is enormous, being that they're going to use thousands of bots to be able to get in on the ground floor and work their way up. And let's say only 100 of the 1,000 get through, then you got 100 more scamming opportunities for them, which for them, that would be actually even better that they do use this system because it's automated too. We have automation versus automation. Who's going to win? The scammer is going to win so far as we can see, unless they've implemented something human, a human part of this, which we hope LinkedIn is listening, that maybe they'll get that part of that. But before I move on, did you guys have anything to add to that part of the discussion?
It's not just the hashtag either. So I've done different variations to tests. I've done open
Okay.
space 2 space work. I've done
Uh-huh.
open 2 work in 1. I've done open 2 plus work, and they all don't come up.
Ah, okay. Or even just using ATW or OTW without a hashtag, without anything, because people talk in code, and code is easily detectable too.
No, OTW, it still comes up.
Yeah, OT, and I expected it to. So yeah, so we're going to probably watch more of that unfold, and I'm going to talk to my guy Kevin Turner, who's going to come in on second hour, and I'm going to ask him about what he thinks as well. But I think he sees the same thing that we've been talking about. He has probably even further insight because he's always digging into LinkedIn and the different variations. In fact, he's given me a heads up on a couple of things. Let's continue on. There's a couple of other issues I do want to cover. Did you guys like to see the little meme with the bird, the other that I sent last night? I don't know if you did, Ashley.
3.5.
Yeah, that was pretty much. But that's pretty much, that seems like the effort on a lot of the social networks. And I bring this up because it seems as though, as Russell pointed to, it's a money grab opportunity right now, and everybody's sensing it. It's more profitable to have the discussion about the scams than it is to do something about the scams.
Engaging, yes.
Yeah, you brought up the general part, but I was just going straight to the tree rather than around the tree. But
I wanted to say something about your video too.
Okay, which one?
That's the bird video. So that's
Okay,
also interesting because I was watching it and I was like, it looks so real, but the little characteristics of AI within it. And I wondered to myself, how many people watched this and thought that was a legitimate bird? Because I didn't see anybody in the comments say anything about the AI. And it said to me, man, it's starting to get more and more real in the videos.
We discussed this in the past. I brought this up about deepfake videos.
Yes.
I've been talking about for over a year now. I have my friend Carrie Tomlinson, who I'm going to have back sometime soon. But the figure is, we saw it in real time how real it was going to get. Because first it was VEO3 that Google had put out and made this very realistic video. Unless you were paying close attention, you would have just looked at like most people look at TV and said, oh, this is real. Or how did they do this? And not thinking that it was AI generated. then Sora 2 kind of broke the levees, so to speak, on this. So now we can expect that the John Cena test will be obsolete. You know what I mean with the John Cena test?
Can't see me. Yeah.
Can you really see me? What you do, and Russell, I don't know if you saw, I don't know if you listened to that episode.
And
But
see, and
go
that's the thing about this is they've known about this forever. There's a reason why the Screen Actors Guild and the actors went on strike. Those are their experts in it. They were already saying they won't need actors anymore because they can create an entire movie with AI and not even pay any actors to be in it. They were worried about their images being stolen, and suddenly you bring it to John Cena in the movie, but yet he'd never been in the movie. Stuntman, the entire stuntman way of life gone because now stunts could be done with AI. So that's the reason for that entire stop work, is because this was coming. So it's here. It's already here. You can make whatever.
This has been going on for some time, even with the beginning of CGI. And we were like, this is such an amazing advancement in cinema. You can just see things that aren't there, but they look so real. If you just trace it back, CGI and motion capture in video games to get the actual movements of the either NBA players or the NFL players. Yes, it's cool to have this ultra realistic experience, but it's never going to stop progressing. And that's the point. It's like, it always starts off as something that is convenient, something that is appealing, but then you look up and it's like you just conveniently put yourself out of commission, so to speak, or out of business.
Right. And can you imagine the candidates now are going to have to, what are they going to do? For most of them, especially if you've been out of the workforce, you don't participate in social networks, which is really still most people in the world. They're going to get to an interview thinking they're interviewing with a real person. Now, how timely the response will be, I don't know. But surely the interviewer will control the interview, having it scripted. Please tell me about this, that, and the other. Tell me about this, that, and the other. They won't respond to movement, to a wrong answer, to a fake answer. They're just going to respond. And then get the candidate to a point to where, oh, I'm convinced and I'm hoping for this chance. Then they can ask for more information. Now they can get more personal information. Yeah, you're going to get hired. Now we want you. Because before we said, do all the tests first before. That means you're going to have to, that means A, you're going to have to vet a whole lot closer now up front. And it better be thorough, or learn through the back that you've been had. Am I missing something here? Anybody?
No, not at all. This is what I hate to tell job seekers, but it's necessary. It's like, it takes 30 minutes or more before you should ever even respond to a message that you get, because you have to vet the URL, you have to vet the person, you have to vet the profile, you have to vet the company, you have to vet the descriptions within the profile to see whether or not that's real. Like I say, I get hundreds of messages a week from people, and I got one this morning where this lady asked me if this recruiter was real, and the website email it ended in word.excel or something like that. I'm just making that up. But a quick tip to verify whether or not an email is real is just put the domain in the URL and search it. And so when I did that, it led to a lander page. So that's a clear tell that this is not a real email. This is not a real business. It's that kind of stuff where don't go off of how good the email sounds. Don't go off of how well they present themselves in their messaging. Always check everything, and one red flag is enough to stop.
Yes. And that's very important. Yeah. Go ahead, Russell.
Go to the other side. I'm the HR side of it. I'm the hiring side. So many companies have been burnt from an AI interviewer because, like I said, it does listen to the question. It answers the question. It answers it right. It knows the software. Quite a few companies have hired a foreign actor now from doing that, giving them access to their computer systems, giving them access to their financial accounts. And it's North Korea or Africa or somewhere else that's doing it. And they've got this person hired because they never brought them on site. They never actually saw the real person. And a lot of companies now have gone to that. They've gotten away because of the expense. Now they're having to come back to it because it's too expensive not to.
There's one thing I want to add to that, because I've talked about this a couple of times, but there's this woman who was on LinkedIn where she shared her story, and she found out that she had worked for a company for 2 years, but she actually never did. And I made a little funny video about it where it was the one-way interview where it was no camera. because it ties back into the mindset the job seekers have of trying to be overly compliant and doing whatever and tolerating whatever just because they're desperate to get a job. And so what happened was this company interviewed somebody that they thought was this woman, but she didn't appear on camera because she said she had a medical condition. And so the company is, they don't want to risk being discriminatory or whatnot. So they took that excuse, and she worked there, quote unquote, for 2 years. And then by happenstance, it was discovered that this person they had within their company for 2 years was not the real person. And then, like you said, Russell, about North Korea, what they tend to do is play the long game. So they don't jump right into immediate brute force tactics. They'll slowly gather information over time. Like I was saying this to somebody else this morning, this has global implications because they can learn how the U.S. infrastructure of different businesses work, help undermine it, see where they're trying to go, get there first. It's a bigger problem than what people think.
It's called bait and wait. That's
Yeah.
what they call it, bait and wait, where they throw it out and they know the long game is eventually you're going to fall. And not to mind you that, and we talked about this before, scammers, they probably have about 90 to 98% of information on all of us anyway, because of our activities, of where they've been, how we've socialized. They studied all that. And I know, Jay, that you often say that we can't accuse them of being smart. But I've said before, and people try to dispute me on it, they're smart marketers, because you've got to be a smart marketer to watch and know what people habitually do and how they're going to respond to different stimulus, different ads, and different information. I want to get to a couple of comments here before I go on. One LinkedIn user said, "It's true. I asked a recruiter to email me from their work email as they shared that they worked for a specific company, but their profile shared several different companies. I continued to push back, and they eventually went dark." So to get any kind of answer or to get no answer tells you everything that most people should know. That one red flag means delete, disengage, report it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay.
Because it shouldn't be like pulling teeth to get this information. Like a real recruiter, a real HR person, they're up front, they have the job rec, they're public facing, the company is legitimate, it's bona fide, the website has been around for multiple years. You can't have a VP of recruiting who just started their LinkedIn profile, but they've been a VP of recruiting for 20 years. Like, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
And you know what?
Go ahead, Ashley.
One of the things that I tell my members, I always tell them, and I will say this again, is to always go through legitimate job boards from the company directly. So I've even started advising my clients, don't even go to LinkedIn, don't even go to the regular job boards. Go straight to the companies, like literally type in the Walmarts and the Googles and what have you, and apply that, and then log every single job in your job tracker, the company you apply to, the dates, the job description, everything. So when somebody reaches out to you and they say, "Hey, I just received your resume. You applied for XYZ." You can go back through your sheet and say, "You know what? I might have applied to that company. That's true, but I actually didn't apply to that role, or I didn't apply like they're saying. So this might not be legitimate." You got to take in measures to protect yourself as much as possible.
There's one other thing I wanted to can I add real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scammers know the volume of applications that job seekers put in, so they know that you're not going line by line checking every company that you apply to. So what they do is they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, we got your resume. Hey, we have this application on file for you, and we want to follow up with you." What you always should do if you get that, before you even engage, is check your received messages or search that company's name within your inbox. And if it doesn't come up, that means you've never applied to that job or that company. Because every time you apply to a role, you get a confirmation email saying, "Hey, thank you for your application. We've received it." And then they'll be in touch. Whether or not they will, that's up to them. But you always get that email. So if you've never gotten an email from that company, then they're lying to you, because they're banking on the fact that you don't know who you've applied to because you've applied to so many places.
Yeah. Shout out to Laura, who says that she says, "I'm an employed corporate recruiter." He says she plays them to the end. But that's not reasonable for everybody. And
they don't have the time.
They don't have the time. But having said that, though, some job search advice: one thing it keeps saying is if you're applying to 100 jobs a week, you can't be paying attention to each job description. Tell me if I'm wrong. I truly stand on if you're applying to 100 jobs a week, you likely are going to have your information fall into some hands you don't want them to. And that's
Yeah,
where
There's
most people get sideroaded. Go ahead, Russ.
Yep. You've got to, we talked about easy apply. I put in for a lot of easy applies when I was out of work, but only if it showed me who the job poster was. Then I could look up the job poster before I messaged them. You know, easy apply is fine. Now, easy apply shotgunning that you're just hitting it, that's a good way for your stuff to end up where it doesn't need to be. So there are good ones. I wouldn't throw it all out because some people say don't ever hit easy apply. No, it's okay to do that. But as long as, just like anything else, you do your due diligence, just like you don't apply to anyone that contacts you without doing your due diligence. Still contact them today. You were talking about the long game. You're right. I've actually know of one case that I'd helped a company with where the person had been there a couple of years, been promoted up, and now they were hiring in people from their group, and thus it's getting more infiltrated in the company. That's what you were talking about, that long game, when they can be there longer. And now they are bringing in more criminals because now the hiring manager, they didn't do anything. It's what we would call a clean. When I was working in law enforcement, someone who has no criminal background gets a job at the prison. Since they have no criminal background, even though they're in the gang, they're not allowed to have the tats. They're not allowed to commit crimes with the gang. They get hired in corrections. Now they got someone that can bring stuff in. They become a sergeant, can even hire more of them in. It's working that same way with the scammers.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if you guys saw my video a couple of weeks ago. Facebook has started Facebook marketing jobs, not the actual Facebook marketing jobs, but they're putting back job postings on Facebook Market. Back in the day, it was a minefield for all kinds of things. Now they're going to put it back at this time in this economy. You know what kind of minefield that's going to be? It's going to be full of scam jobs. You want a scam job, we know exactly where to go. Facebook.
You saw the news about the $16 billion in scam ads and banned goods revenue that they made. So
right. Yeah. Again, it's the money grab aspect, not the safety aspect there. So it's up to each of us to be safe. I like what Laura says. She says that, and thanks, Laura, for coming. She says she gets about 300 applications per requisition, per job posting that's out there. So, you know, you're not helping. And probably out of those 300, I'd say there might be 3 or 4 she actually might that she might interview, just to give you guys an idea. Go ahead, Ashley. You could speak from experience.
I kind of want to make a comment, and that is, if you find yourself on the phone and you identify that you're speaking to a spammer, please don't get into the habit of talking to them for longer than you should. The moment you answer that call and you realize that you were talking to a scammer, hang up. It is so enticing to want to talk to them and manipulate them and prove them wrong and get on their nerves and what have you. But you put yourself in a lot of risk the more of your voice that they capture.
The recording,
people start to slip and say things that they didn't intend to. They hear things in your background. They get an idea to know where you are. Like, don't allow yourself to be tracked, traced, your voice to be cloned. Just don't do it.
Once you start engaging them, you verify that you are who they called.
Yeah, because they'll be like, they'll call me and they'll be like, hey, I'm trying to do this Jay Jones. Is this Jay Jones? And I'm like, who is this speaking? He's like, I'm calling to find out if you're in the market for a job opportunity. Click, block. Yeah.
But most people have settings on their phones now. The phones have gotten a lot better. The cell phones have gotten a lot better where
scam likely.
You could set it so that you don't even hear the phone ring if you don't recognize the phone number. If you guys need me to do a little tutorial one day, I could do that and put it on YouTube. But it's real easy. You can also get the app called Robo Killer on iPhone. And there's some that are similar on the Android side, which will help you screen those calls. But basically, why have them ring your phone at all? And whoever has a legitimate message, they're going to leave a message or
Yeah.
text you.
Well,
And,
they leave messages too. Yeah.
yeah, and they'll be forthright in proving who they are. Scammers, they're on to the next person. So it's better not to answer the phone call. So I think,
Actually, what I did is switched my office line to a Microsoft Teams. You can pay for it. It's not that expensive. To a
right.
Microsoft Teams line. Now, if they're called, in order to get through to me, I'll see if it's a Teams one, I'll answer it. If it's a phone number I don't know, I'm not answering my cell. It'll ring on my computer. It'll ring on my office phone. It'll ring on my cell phone. That way I know if it's business coming through or not. Because the only ones who are getting that is if the ones who know my business line.
And for me, if a call comes in, I don't know the number, I'm immediately Googling that number. I will wait. If I don't find an answer through Google, I will put that thing on voicemail and I will just read the words that come through. And it's usually somebody from consumer services.
Yep.
Can't tell you how I've blocked 50 numbers a day at this point from that same person.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are laws in your states to where if these people keep calling and you're able to prove it, the state will pay you to pay. It will charge the scammer and they've got to pay X amount of dollars. So you can, even though the amount may not be life changing, it will that pile up as more people do it. So if you go the route, be smart. But I would say don't answer the phone.
I'm
Don't
curious
bother.
if LinkedIn is actually selling stuff for us because someone alerted this to me and I did it. My current job is Fort Hays State University, obviously. It's not on LinkedIn anymore. When I first got there and it was on LinkedIn, I was getting 4 to 6 calls a day for sales, HR software, or some kind of business stuff. I took it off. The last job that's listed on there is my old one from about 2 years ago. So obviously it's not my current job. I've got no calls since then. Since I took my current job off, not one call.
Yeah, I actually spoke about that because I was talking with a buddy of mine, Freddie. He works in anti-money laundering, and we had a conversation. He told me that whenever he would update a anti-money laundering certificate, or when people he's cool with who are CPAs or anybody in those industries like cybersecurity and whatnot updated their job titles, they would suddenly get random messages and connection requests and things from suspect profiles. And the thing that I saw was the common thread is all of those job titles have a wealth of information they're responsible for. So if you compromise one of them, a CPA, you get all of this banking information. Cybersecurity, you get inner workings of how the business is protected and how you can penetrate that. And so for you, when you posted that job, they have bots that follow certain job titles. And so HR is another one where you're responsible for a wealth of information, people's medical information, people's complaints on file. And so they can get that information, pretend to be an HR representative, know how to make their overtures to potential job seekers look even more legitimate. So like bots are infesting the platform. That's why this open to work search thing, like I said, is a half measure because it does nothing about the bots.
Yes, you brought up a great point. I'm glad you brought up money muling.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, most students, especially college students, there are targets for college students.
Yes.
And if you're a parent of a college student, you should be paying attention because it is considered a crime. It's not a matter, it's not a mishap. And if you don't know what money muling is, it's basically laundering money, sending it from one account to another, or saying that you're going to get this check and this check is going to replace these funds that you just sent to someone so that you can, all kinds of craziness. But schools should be the ones to really talk about this at the front end, not wait until something happens to people, because students talk amongst themselves, say, hey, I'm making money doing this. This is really, and I made $100, and I made, but it starts out as being $100. Then the amount continues to get bigger because the scammers, they'll go ahead and put $100 in your account for doing that one little thing. But then the amounts get bigger and say, oh, we'll pay you in a couple of days, and lead you down this hole to where it's costing your bank a few $1,000s. Meanwhile, the bank is not getting the money because those checks are bad and those accounts are fake.
Yeah, and I was talking to a person who's in money laundering as a consultant
Mhm.
earlier this morning, or actually yesterday evening, and she was talking about how even though the college students have no idea of what they're doing, they're still held legally responsible for it. So even
Yep.
though they had no idea, they're not actively engaged in this, they're just taken advantage of, they're still legally responsible and can be charged.
Yep. And those charges go on your record. And let's say you're a senior who's
Yeah, how are
trying
you
to
going to
get
get a
a
job?
job. It's going to be hard to get a job, especially in any industry, much less a financial industry, because now money laundering has been part of your record. Because you will get charged. And sometimes some banks are good at educating young people about them, but not enough banks are good at educating people. And that's why I wrote an article about it not that long ago, about 2 weeks ago, even had a video talking about schools need to be doing this up front. It should be part of the orientation, something to watch out for, and to spread the news saying, hey, look out for these organizations. But instead, they often operate from behind because they're in the money grabbing business too. But that's a whole another discussion we can have later. But all that to say is that even regular citizens who are not college students need to be careful about doing that as well,
Absolutely.
because there have been adults who've fallen into that, and it's a pretty dangerous thing. Anything else on the money laundering tip before I move on?
I
Go ahead,
can
Russell.
tell you because I've had some folks in colleges talk about, you're talking about doing it intentionally or not. The bad part is I'm not looking at, like Jay would say, the URLs or the emails. When the scammer gets, say, I'm at Fort Hays State University. Now the student's here and they get an email from Fort Hays FSSU. Instead of EDU, it's COM. They're not looking at that. You overpaid. We've got you overpaid on your financial aid. Here's your $1,000 check. Oh, now they get an email. I'm sorry, it wasn't supposed to be $1,000. It was supposed to be this much. So we need you to. So,
Send
a
it
lot of
back,
times
yeah.
they might not even be aware of it. And they're getting it from what they're just seeing. Oh, it comes from Fort Hays. And Fort Hays does reimburse you if it's over and students know that. And scammers will take advantage of that very quickly on students.
One of the LinkedIn users says there's so many layers of money laundering. You're so right, fintech professional. The amount of sophisticated scams that I've witnessed are mind-boggling. It's all the time. I don't know if you guys follow one of my guests, Mark Evans,
I
but
was actually about to mention something, yeah.
yeah, he talks about it all the time, especially when it gets into crypto and Bitcoin. That's a whole nother realm of scams. I don't talk about it a whole lot because I try to keep it job scam related, but sometimes it is, because if you're caught in that mix, it goes on your record, and it goes on your record for a long time.
Yeah, I
You
was
got to
actually,
be careful.
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Jay. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Jay.
because I was actually had a conversation with him, because it's my theory, which I don't believe is a theory anymore, but that a large part of the global fraud and stuff that happens, it starts in the U.S. job market, because this is the highest concentration of people in a country that is advanced and it has the most opportunities, arguably, in the world. And all of these people being scammed, that's a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of information, a lot of people that are decorated that lose access to that. And then it goes around the world funding all of these different criminal organizations. But I say it always starts in this job market, because this is the place where, I spoke about this before, where you're openly encouraged to share as much as possible and to be as overly compliant as possible because you're trying to get a job. But with that, you have to be judicious. You have to understand that you're still in power of your information. I always say the job left, your gift didn't. And so when you sit up here and you operate from this scarcity mindset, or this mindset of, I should jump through whatever hoop to give myself the best advantage, then you're setting yourself up to be abused endlessly. And when I talked to him about that theory, he was like, yeah, firsthand results of my investigations, it always ties into the fake accounts that I bring down. This stuff ties into this.
Absolutely. Ashley, I'm sure something's going through your mind.
I was listening to Jay so
You're
intently that
listening
I lost
intently,
my thought
yes.
immediately. No, but really, you got to be careful, especially for those who are just getting started in your job search. Maybe this is your first job. You've really read these things. And if you see an opportunity and you think that seems too good to be true, or you look at it and you're like, this is great, go online and research it. Go find it, because it's highly unlikely that they've only targeted you. They've targeted other people. So
Yep.
Reddit forums are really beneficial. There's a lot of discussions there. But even I myself, when I was in college and I was just getting my first opportunity, I can't tell y'all how many Yahoo interviews tried to come my way. Okay. So you really got to be careful when you're getting started.
Yahoo.edu.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've seen it. But when you don't know these things, it's really easy to fall victim. And so, though it might be funny to us and to everybody watching, make sure you're talking to your children and their friends and those in your community, because they may have no idea and can fall victim. And it can not only hurt them, but you as well in the future.
That's another thing regarding the kids, because it's really nasty when it comes to that, because the sextortion part, but that's for another time. But what, just specifically on information theft, you're talking about these ads on these tablets, because my son, he has a tablet and he's constantly playing all these games. And then one time we got a charge for about $60 or $70. And that's on the low end, because many parents have this problem where they get charges for $500+, but the way these games are set up, it's ad after ad after ad. And if you try to like close it, the actual X button is an ad. And then you go to this game and like literally the tablet crashed and has a virus now because of all these ads. So I had to reset it and stuff. But it's just so easy. And these kids they don't know what they're doing. They just want to play a game, but they're clicking this and it's like charging your card. You don't know who they're talking to online. There's this stuff that goes on with these gaming systems with the headsets. You don't know who they're talking to. Grown-ups pretend to be kids. Like, it's dangerous.
For adults too, because these games are also gamified. They're like two, but it turns left.
Like those surveys, those personality quizzes.
Yep.
And those could be just as dangerous. Adults hopefully will learn too before they teach their children the wrong way of going about. So I think that's something we practice. Now, we're going to the last 10 minutes of the show. I want to find out from, I know, right? It always seems to.
Good stuff always goes quick.
Oh, yeah. It gets. Who are the groups of people you guys are concerned about as far as when it comes to job scams or a lack of information and awareness? In your estimation, you guys have been around the globe as far as LinkedIn is concerned. So you've seen it all. From what you could tell, who are the ones seem to be drifting in the space without direction when it comes to awareness?
For me, the top three would be new grads, because they don't know what this job market has for them. Second level are professionals who have been at a company for 10 plus years and then they're suddenly laid off. Like Intel, for example, they laid off people who were there for 20 plus years. They have no idea what this job market is, because the last time they looked at the job market was 2000. And then the elderly, because a lot of issues with them, like dementia and stuff like that, they're getting on the phone, they're going to these Bitcoin ATMs and getting drained of their entire life savings. So new grads, job professionals who haven't been in the market for 10 plus years, and the elderly.
And mine, for me, I agree with him too. I would say those who have been laid off, like very recently, as well as those who have exhausted their funds, exhausted employment, they have tapped out their retirement. A lot of time they are in a state of desperateness. And so every opportunity looks like a good one. Their emotions are being played with. And so the logic tends to go out of the door.
Russell?
I was just reading an article yesterday, and it was about a ex-HR. She was making $250,000 a year. And she talked about, she goes, I wanted to maybe have some more leisure time. So I walked away from that because it wasn't the job I wanted to be at anymore, knowing I would get a job soon. She goes, now a year and 2 months later, I'm still trying to find. Yeah, that's a CHRO, high level. And then I'm getting all these hits on things that turn out not to be real. It's not like she's not intelligent, highly educated, top of the HR thing, but yet still gets hit with the scams and had no clue what this job market is like. I was worried about for a lot of the federal workers, because same thing, a lot of those folks, they're used to having that job, that federal job. Even without the scammers, they were not ready for what this like the vocational Hunger Games we're going through right now, what it's out there for, the viciousness. They're like, I got 6 months to find something else. You better start today, because that's the average time people are out is 6 months. Could end up being more. I've been 2 weeks from homeless when I got a job offer, so I know what that's out there, and the desperation that you are. It's like, I don't even care anymore. I'm broke anyway. I'm in the hole anyway. It's not like they can steal anything. What's that next step? What can I do to make sure that my kids still have a home? That's that desperation that's out there.
Yeah, I think the furloughed, particularly federal workers,
Yep.
especially if they've been on long-time furlough, they're getting hit major. But a lot of them are still in denial. This is a dynamic that often happens with federal workers. The government has saved them time after time. They're used to the government bailing them out in some kind of way. So they believe that if they stay put, if they stay course, that they'll come back and everything be made okay. I don't think it's going to be that way anymore. Mm-hmm. I've been through the first wave. I was going to federal bases back about 15 years ago during job training. That's because George Bush said, we're cutting out all these bases. So he did cut a lot of the bases that we all know. We've seen characters and sitcoms like Fort Knox. Fort Knox is not the Fort Knox that used to be back in 2000. There used to be a bevy of jobs, and that's no more. And there's some other ones that were the same. It's almost the same similar situation here, where funding is going to be cut and bases are going to face that. And so that, as well as specifically military who are just coming out for the first time in a number of years, the ones that are transitioning to the civil world, they're getting hit. And you know who gets hit very high? Military spouses. Yeah. The military spouses because they very often want to look for remote work. They want to find a remote job so that as their spouse is being transferred from base to base, they'll have the same job. A lot of them, they'll have 6 or 7 jobs in 6 or 7 years because that's how often their spouse has been transferred. So those of you who we've mentioned, if you need help, seek any of us out. We'll be glad to tag team or do whatever. I'm willing to come to your base to help with job scam education or to your college. So hit me up. I am
likewise.
And we'll come as a group.
Or we could come as a group and have a panel like this. That would be crazy cool. So that's all possible. Hit us up. We're here to help. We'll come to the next 5 minutes of the show and to go to part 2 of this. Where are you guys going to be next? Jay Jones, you've been on all the podcasts. Where are you going to be next?
There are things in development, but working on it. But I'm always on LinkedIn, taking down these scammers and educating people, helping them be safer. I have some things behind the scenes I'm working on. So going to keep that to myself. But you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at theprofiler.org. And anytime you have questions, reach out to me.
Okay. Ashley?
Amazing. Same. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. And if you find yourself job hunting and you're looking for a role in cybersecurity, GRC, definitely connect with me as well. Check out cybercareeradvancement.com. Right now, I am working on a resource to help drastically cut down on the amount of scams that people face in the job market so people can just land opportunities instead of fake opportunities. I know I just made that up as corny. Anyway,
not bad. I kind of like it.
New word.
I will be launching that very soon. I'll share more with you guys. So definitely stay connected with all of us here because we all have unique voices in this market, but the same shared purpose of keeping you safe.
I'm on LinkedIn, obviously. Always trying to help out either HR or on the scam side of it. Working on a YouTube situation coming up hopefully soon. But the biggest thing I got for folks, you're looking for a job, don't forget your niche markets. Everybody's LinkedIn, everybody's Indeed, everybody's Glassdoor. I got my job off of higheredjobs.com. People go, oh, that's just for colleges. Colleges are many cities. We need accountants. We need technicians. We need carpenters. And there's always a college near you. Going onto those niche sites And where for this job I got now, I was competing against 5 other people instead of the 500 I was competing with the other jobs. Look for those niche sites, apply on those, get out there. And there are jobs out there. I've got 23 jobs we're hiring for right now. Hit us up at Fort Hays State University .careers or .edu/careers. We've got jobs. There's jobs. It's a matter of finding them and getting through the competition. So do that.
Excellent. And me, Job Scam Report on Substack. You can find us as well as LinkedIn. Now, I know there's a couple of people I just happened to be browsing around, and they were complaining about not being able to get the jobscamreport.com. Guess who got it? That's right, yours truly. I knew you were going to try to get it. I knew you were going to try. And you know what? Your profile looked suspicious anyway. Just so you know, I know you're watching.
I'm sitting here so confused. What is going on?
I know. It's unreal. Oh, I'm glad we didn't talk about it, but this is something I'll mention real quick, and you guys can chime in because Russell J. But there is somebody who's been a scammer who's been harassing one of us, both of us, all of us in some kind of way.
All of y'all, but not me. Put me in the group.
Yeah. Well,
Let's see
check
how
the
that
chat.
goes.
Check the chat for the name. And just for this guy, we'll just call him JM. We got you. We got you too.
Yeah,
we
none of your little
on
threats
you.
were. No.
Yeah, sorry, but you would have done what you said you were going to do, and we know you're lying. So, just so you know, we got you. The crew's here. We're signing off. Thank you very much for joining the Job Scam Report podcast.